course. Never turn your back on oncoming racers, and remember, stay off.
More fun to finish the day out. Lord, once again, we ask a blessing on our military men and women. We thank you once again for the Turner family for letting us use this piece of property. Lord, just watch us all and continue to bless us, this country. Lord, we just thank you for being in control of everything each and every day. Take us all home safely when this is over with, and we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you would, please remain standing, stand at attention, remove those caps, and cross those hearts as we honor the greatest nation in the world with a playing of our national anthem. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome once again to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Rodney Tomlin along with Chuck LeMaster coming up here in a few moments, also along with Jen Kenyon as we continue our coverage here from the VP Fuels Big Buck GNCC with our side-by-side racing action as we get set to roll into today's starting lineups today, including our XC1 Pro class on row number 1. Actually, several rows back as they'll be staggered in 5-car rows, and they'll be starting several seconds apart on time adjustment. But our XC1 Pro class today, 32 teams, including the number 1 and defending championship team from Pataskala, Ohio, with his teammate Kyle Cheney. It is Chris Bithell. It is Kyle Cheney in the number 1 car. The number 3 out of Tompkinsville, Kentucky, with his teammate Jared McClure, fresh off the ATV Pro race a few moments ago, John Yoakley. Riding aboard the number 4, a former top XC racer, as well as one of the greatest ATV motocross stars of all time from Ashland, Ohio, with his passenger, his wife, Julie Farr. It's the great Tim Farr. Former champion of this series, riding in the number 5 car out of Tompkinsville, Kentucky, with his wife. It's Tina Yoakley and William Yoakley. Also riding aboard the number 6 out of Marietta, Ohio, with Braden Henthorn, fresh off the XC1 Pro class a few moments ago. As passenger, it's Larry Hendershot in the driver's seat. In the number 7 car from Jefferson, Pennsylvania, with the passenger of Dan Bedallion, Mouse Pratt at the controls. The number 9 of Marcus Pratt out of Carmichael's, PA, along with the number 15, Devin Steedley from Bluff City, Tennessee. The 32, Bill Patterson out of Morgantown, West Virginia. The 35, Justin Lukatek out of Rogers, Ohio. The 40 of Charlie Rogers from Washington, PA. The 49, Clint Zenter from New Waterford, Ohio. The number 60 of Paul Greenwood out of Fairmont, West Virginia. The 70 car of Jamie McCoy from Kingsport, Tennessee. The 88 of Rich Curley from Rochester, New York. As the blue flag is out, we're down to less than 30 seconds, my friends. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down, as they go to, as they like to say here in the GNCC Racing Nation. And as they shut them down and we hear the all quiet across this starting line, all attention turns to Ricky Towery up near turn number 1 as he readies these teams and lets them know it's time to go in 10 seconds. Row number 1, John Yoakley, Marcus Pratt, Steve Matco, and Travis Pointer here at our BP Fuels Big Buck GNCC. .591 car, Travis Pointer out front in the Wicked-built Can-Am machine as he rolls in now as we go to our second row of riders here. Looks like it's going to be Kyle Cheney, Larry Hendershot. By the way, Kyle Cheney, your defending champion. Larry Hendershot, John Kletz, and Zach Zakowski. Rolling next. Larry Hendershot off like a bolt of lightning out of that start grid and into the first and second turns now. Looks like he's going to be a tough one to beat. Row number 3, XC1 Pros continue. Mouse Pratt, Justin Lukatic, Tyler Marco, William Dipple, and Craig Greenwood. They're on row number 3. Row number 4. As early lead in that one is the 7-car Mouse Pratt. Row number 4, Tim Farr, Devin Steedley, Rich Curley, Kohai Sequoy, and Lucas Paul. 10 seconds. A little bit of extra time for these guys as they wait for the green flag to wave. It's up, and they're off. It's the number 4 car of Tim Farr grabbing the early jump off of this. And let's see if he can hold on to the lead, as he will. Rounding that first turn, heading into the second turn now. Row number 5. Former champion William Yoakley in the number 5 car, along with Bill Patterson, Clint Zentner, Scott Kiger, and Craig Bland. Wow, look at that black UTV driven by William Yoakley. Trying to go for that intimidator look there. I'll tell you what, he might be doing a pretty good job of it, but he opens up in second behind the 808 car. And that one we all know as Scott Kiger, of course. As we roll down to our next row, we are with row 6, Jamie McCoy, Jordy Reed, Frank Olander, Hans Aida, and Jason Smith. And around the turns they go. Wow, look at this. Woohoo! It's the 913 car, Jason Smith, grabbing the early lead. Row 7. XC1 Pro, the last row for these guys. Charles Rogers, Paul Greenwood, Mark Evans, and Ryan Springer ready to tackle that first turn. Green flag waves on this one, and they are rolling. It's the 541 of Ryan Springer with the awesome jump off the line right there, and Springer going to take the early lead in that Can-Am machine as we go down to our XC2 Pro Sport class. Riders like Michael Swift, Drew Kreselich, Brian Rigg, Mike Jenkins, and Craig Vanderhoof off and rolling. Early leader in this one's going to be one of our Can-Am cars. This one is the number 75 car of Joe Kreselich. Up next, row 9, XC2 Pro Sport, Brian Buchanan, Seth Mitchell, Doug Gust, Old Digger Doug back with us, and Jonathan Powers along with David Plavy. Doug Gust, former top ATV motocross star and champion. And right now back in the number 5 spot. Up next is row 10, John Henry, Chris Brockway, Mike Penland, the pioneer of side-by-side, or excuse me, 4x4 racing, no doubt. Jamie held the Deutsch boys himself, Timothy Deutsch and Sean Bogdan. And this one right here, the 8 car of John Henry taking the early lead in this one. He is the XC2 Pro Sport, class number 8. Now we go to XC3 Lights. We got 1 row of these. They include Dan McConaughey, Andrew Ebbets, and Denise Wilkinson. XC3 Lights off and rolling. The Formula 409 car of Denise Wilkinson is leading this one. And now row 12 to our amateur modified. Chris Wolf, Kevin Trantham, Josh Skidmore, Bill Ross, A.J. Rockwell. A 409, another 409 car it looks like, but this one might be rolling under a different number. I don't know. Call that one Bill Ross, I believe. 69 Chris Wolf was in the battle of that one also. We got Derek Foster coming up on row 13 along with Spencer Modlin, Todd Harris, Sam Collins, and John Barnes. 995 car, John Barnes out to a good jump off the start there. Amateur modified, and this is row 14 here. Daniel Jensen, Bob Nether, and James Person. Oh, man, hit a tree right off the bat there. Tough stuff. Let's hope so. He's going to need to be tough if you're driving like that. And these guys are off, and I believe that brings us with one more in our final row here. Amateur Limited, Rich Travelina, Mike Himes, Troy Bigelow, Aaron Davis, Brent Kennedy, Rich Wheaton, and Vicky Fowler. Final row set and ready to roll here in our Big Buck GNCC UTV, a.k.a. side-by-side racing. Celebrating 19 years of the Big Buck here in Union, South Carolina, as the green flag waves on our final row of starts here this afternoon in both the ATVs and side-by-sides and everything today. This is the last time we'll be starting here today. Look at that, got a car stuck in the second turn, can't get it, fire back up, but just barely enough room to work their way around. Track officials thinking quickly, trying to get it out of the way, couldn't make it happen, so they got it out just enough to let those cars go around. Quick thinking for those guys, a free start right now means we're cleared, and we have got our system set up with an all systems go race here for our side-by-side UTV racing action. And of course with that, we're going to check in with Jen Kenyon and our GNCC pastor, and of course sidekick here with our UTV racing, Chuck LeMaster, coming up in just a few moments, as we'll be back with more GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com right after this.
Racer, Ranger, Sportsman, Ace. If you live for the outdoors, there's a Polaris to match your passion. Confident, comfortable, capable. That's Ace. With a solo cockpit, automotive controls, independent suspension, all-wheel drive, and up to 45 horses of fuel-injected power. Calling it revolutionary would be an understatement. Polaris, the world leader in off-road innovation.
GNCC Live is brought to you in part by Polaris Ace, a whole new off-road experience. And by Amsoil, first in synthetics. Rocky Mountain ATV&C, get ready. And by Maxxis, find your flow.
All right, and welcome back to GNCC Live on RacerTV.com, our second installment of GNCC Live actually here today. We're here at the Big Buck GNCC, Union, South Carolina. Chuck LeMaster joins me here. I'm Jen Kenyon, of course, and we are here at round 2 of our side-by-side racing championship. Chuck, as we see here on our screen, we're just 10 minutes into the first lap here, and I'm sure things are getting interesting out there for the guys.
Well, they've got to be. This is the first lap into this new race of the second round of the year, if I can spit that out eventually. The guys were nervous. I went down on the starting line, and of course, I guess it was 4 weeks ago in Georgia. We were fighting a lot of mud. These guys are expecting that they're going to fight a lot of dust. As we see on our screens right now, we're getting a lot of dust kicked up. The key to this race is going to be out front, clear visibility. And for these guys that are starting farther back, the key for them is to go into the woods, make up time, and so when they come out into the fields where the dust is really thick, they'll be able to keep those tail lights in sight.
You know, that's what's crazy. We have a 13-round GNCC series, and of course we're 4 rounds into the 13-round series, but we're 2 rounds into the 6th round side-by-side championship. And like you said, they take so much time off in between, which we all know is good because there's a lot of things that you probably need to fix on these cars from round to round. But then at the same time, we could have different weather, different climate, just different conditions altogether, and it's been a while since they've been out here.
Well, for sure, and that last round being such a mutter, the attrition rate was huge, and there were a lot of cars that didn't even finish. There were only a handful of cars that stayed on the lead lap, and guys had to go home, order parts, refabricate things, bend back the straightened frames or straighten back the bent frames, and so these guys have been working really hard, and I know they want to race more, but they have a lot to do in between.
Absolutely, and you know who's not complaining about round 2 is Travis Pointer. He got the win. He got his first win there at the first round, and he's excited, and I think it's kind of a cool switch up for us. We've seen a lot of the same guys running up front, and it shows just how competitive the side-by-side racing is getting here in GNCC. Everybody's turning the levels up, and things are really switching around out there.
For sure. I tried to get a word with him on the starting line, but I couldn't. He's all of a sudden getting interviews and had a camera in his face. And this was a guy that last year we didn't even know how to pronounce his name.
True.
And we've learned it's Travis. And he's very fast behind the wheel. We saw him all season last year coming on, and finally round 1 he gets it done very convincingly. And he is hoping to lead the way through this first lap right here.
Yeah, that's right. You know, talking and watching Travis last year, we saw him on the podium, I think, 1 or 2 times. And the thing about him is he was very fast, but he had to learn how to keep it all together and make it work for that whole time. And I think we see some teams rolling in right now.
We're certainly hearing them. And, you know, it's crazy because I think all the old guys, and by old I'm talking Tim Farr, William Yoakley, these guys have been around since the inception of UTV racing, which happened right here in 2008, Big Buck. Those are the guys that'll tell you have to keep your car together.
That's right, and you know I think that's the whole key of GNCC racing in general. We've got a lot of trail out there, a lot of time to be racing, and a lot of different variables that can happen during that time. So we're seeing some guys check through the finish line, but Chuck, like we know, only 5 guys start per row here today, and it was, you know, their starting orders based off their seed from the first race, which we have some guys that are maybe a little bit faster that got stuck in the back on the start this round because of their finish last round with the inclement conditions.
For example, William Yoakley, our multi-time 6-time champion, I think, for UTVs. He started on row 5 today because of a very bad first round where he basically got a DNF. And so he'll be trying to fight through the traffic. But as we saw on our screen here just a minute ago, the number 591, which is Travis Pointer, is leading the way. And Kyle Cheney is now getting ready to check in our finish line. We see all the yellow flags waving, saying caution, don't run any spectators over. And
so
hopefully we'll be getting some live timing here pretty soon to see how things are going. And it'll take a few minutes for our live scoring to check in, because these guys are starting 20 seconds apart on their row. And so as these guys start checking in, the later rows, if they've made time, they'll start moving up in the standings. So
let's talk about that adjusted time. So you have a guy like William Yoakley, and I believe Scott Kiger was even back there on the starting rows. Is that going to benefit them? Is that going to hurt them? How is that going to work with the dynamic of all the different rows, the time adjustment, and all the different skill levels out there in the XC1 class?
Well, Larry Hendershot's a great example. He started on row number 2. Larry Hendershot was on row number 2 in Georgia. He caught up to Travis Pointer, stalked him the whole race. 2 turns before the finish line, he blew a belt. And he had time to change the belt, get through the finish line, get 7th place overall. That puts him on the 2nd row today. And right now he checks in with adjusted time. He's in 3rd place. So talking to him on the starting line, he said, all I have to do is catch up. I want to get around a couple of these guys. If I can just latch on and take their lines, I know I'll be in a good position. So for him, it could be an advantage.
All right, so we're going to see these guys checking in physically through the finish line, but we're not really going to understand how this dynamic is going to get underway until we get some more guys checked in, maybe get a couple laps in and start to see how it's all going to shape up.
And things, to put a pun in there, just wait for the dust to settle.
Absolutely, and as you see there by the finish line, we are getting some dust. We had some rain leading up to this race. This morning for the youth ATVs, it was a little bit muddy, and as the day got on, we just kept getting more and more dry, and it's the big buck that we all know.
It's been an 80-degree day here in South Carolina. The sun's been shining, so as the grass gets tilled off the fields, the sun bakes that dirt, and we're going to be facing some very dusty conditions by the end of this race.
That's right, and there's a lot of cars out there. The side-by-side racing, it just keeps growing. We have phenomenal numbers of cars out there, which is so cool to see for the industry, so cool to see for these classes here, and they're definitely not hurting for competition out there.
No, there's a lot of people that are very excited about UTV racing. And as we're checking in on our first lap right now, we might want to do a quick rundown and see how things are starting to shape up, but understand adjusted time could change this a little bit. But right now, in the lead physically and with the time, Travis Pointer leads the way. Good for him. Kyle Cheney, hot on his heels. Larry Hendershot in 3rd. Hans Zeta running in 4th place. Mouse Prout in 5th. Stephen Matko is in 6th. Marcus Pratt in 7th. 8th place is Scott Kiger. Now, Kiger's had to do some catching up to get to that 8th place. Keep an eye on him. Justin Lukatic is in 9th, and rounding out our top 10th is Bill Patterson. And all of these guys are checking in from the XC1 Pro row. We have yet to see our XC2 guys check in, but I know that they were buried back on like the 7th or 8th row before XC2 even started.
Wow, and we see our number 3, John Yoakley, checking in the 16th position, and now 18th position, and now he was a guy
started
that was
front row.
Yes.
So he's obviously had something go not the way that he planned.
I would say so. And we just saw Jared McClure, his co-pilot.
Yes.
Yes, on the Pro ATV, and he's like, all right, I'm going to have to get done with this podium. I'm going to go get something to drink, get some food in my belly, and then it's back out there for side-by-side racing.
Well, and Adam McGill's in one of the cars out there with Zach Sikowski. We have 2 podium finishers already in one car. If you remember from the ATV utility race this morning, Zach Sikowski was on the podium, said, man, it's been a long time since I was up here during this race. I'm sure he's looking to repeat, and got Adam McGill in the car with him right there. So there's a lot of energy in that car. And trying to see where they're checking in at. Looks like they're in the 17th position right now in the 990 car piloted by Zach Sikowski.
Yeah, I guess we need to get Walker Fowler in a car. That makes sense, right?
Since his mother retired, I'm sure that there might be a car laying around the house that he could drive.
I think it could work, and I think Vicky's car might have had a little bit of pink, a lot of pink accents on it. That would look great on Walker.
Don't talk to him too hard about it. He'll do it.
He's one of those guys. Don't dare him, because then he will do it.
He absolutely will. The guy can race anything.
Now I was talking to a lot of the 4x4 pro guys, like you said, Zach Sikowski, Michael Swift's out here, Brian Buchanan. There's a whole slew of those guys. They just can't race one time. They want to race several times. They're going to make it all happen here once again in side-by-side racing, and that's pretty cool to see. They've got a lot of great support. Polaris and Can-Am both are huge supporters of their ATV guys and their UTV guys, And, hey, if you're going to put your name out there, you might as well get it out there as much as possible.
As much as possible. Now, we're looking on screen here, and this is in the field leading up to the finish line, the RideBarnharts.com car. I saw a fire extinguisher out there, and I saw a lot of smoke. Maybe it was steam. Not really sure what's going on there, but it is part of well, we got black smoke now. It is part of the GNCC rules, safety rules. Not only is there a roll cage, but there are fire suits, fire socks, the balaclavas that go over the face. Fire extinguishers are a must-have, and every year a car does catch fire. And we hate it, but because of these rules that are in place, there's been no loss of life, there's been no serious injuries, and this is one of the greatest places that we can race these vehicles for sure.
Absolutely, and like you said, they have so much accessibility to those fire extinguishers, either the passenger or you know, a fan that might come up on a situation. They're very accessible, they're very necessary, and those guys are checking on the starting line to make sure they have all those safety things. And the fire suits as well. You know, I rode co-pilot a few years ago, and I was like, man, this thing is so hot. But again, it saves your life.
It will save your life, so nobody complains. When we stop and think about it, we say, okay. Another thing that these cars have is an external kill switch mounted on the rear of the roll cage. So a spectator, if there is a problem, the spectator can get to that cutoff switch and kill the engine. The series is very well thought out.
Man, I didn't know that. I learned something new. Is there anything else tricky on there that I might not know about? Give us a little education.
I'm sure there's a lot. And
Gas
every
pedal,
single
the
one of
steering
these guys have been, the detachable steering wheel, NASCAR style. There's a lot of little tricks and goodies. This sport has progressed so much. It was 2004 that Yamaha introduced the Rhino and just revolutionized the industry. And look at us now. How far we've come. We've got Can-Am and Polaris, our main players in here, and both of these manufacturers make an incredible car and winning races, and the aftermarket companies have come so far with roll cages, wheels, tires, even better brakes, you name it. To get on the XC1 front row, if you wanted to pay for everything, it would probably cost about $50,000 to build one of these things.
That is more than my lifetime savings will ever be, so I don't think I'll be racing side-by-sides anytime soon. But, you know, all the great companies that are behind these guys helps make it all happen, and
Absolutely.
We're going to hear from a few of our friends here on RacerTV.com.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best? The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why I
only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Rodney Tomlin now in the booth with our own GNCC Pastor Chuck LeMaster and my sidekick for UTV Race Day. And Pastor Chuck, welcoming you back, and also Jen Kenyon out and about. Jenny on the spot for one last UTV race here in the Racer TV. Man, that's just so saddening. Somebody please write somebody a letter and not let her leave us.
It's sad. Jen has become part of the fabric of the GNCC Racing Nation. And we were just commenting not too long ago that she was hired on as a PR person to write press releases, and now look at her go.
She's a star, man.
Absolutely. We're gonna miss her. She is moving on. She's moving onward and upward, and we're gonna miss her. But we know that good things are in her future, and good things are in the future of this sport because she is not leaving the industry.
That's right. We'll let her talk a little bit more about that whenever she's ready. But nonetheless, it is a farewell performance by Jen Kenyon here this weekend as Travis Pointer tries to give her a big prize by taking the win here today away from defending champion Kyle Cheney. Right now, Pointer in that Wickett-built Can-Am machine that he's riding there out of Bartlett, Ohio, had a 13.4-second lead over Kyle Cheney. Cheney did start on row number 2, so that's after some time adjustments. It might be a little different than that in reality, but probably about 12, 13 seconds. If we look at lap times, that's exactly what we have on adjustments there. So Cheney, Larry Hendershot, the number 6 car, is running 3rd. Hans Ada, the 796 car, in 4th. Mouse Pratt is 5th. Steve Matko, the 408 car, in 6th. John Barnes in 7th. The 995 car, the number 9 car, Marcus Pratt, is 8th. Scott Kiger, the 808 car, is 9th. And Justin Ludick is rounding out your top 10 right now. Man, I tell you, a lot of big names in the top 10 right now from that XC1 Pro class. A few not there. One in particular, as we always like to mention, is William Yoakley. And I don't know, man, William has not been able to buy a race so far this year. In seasons past, we've seen it. Well, I guess we've only had one race, but it just seems like it's so long right now. And in that one race, he had so many struggles, and not seeing him here so far in the early part of this race, you know, it has to make one wonder, what's going on with William. I know he's as strong and as fast as he's ever been, and the big question is, where's it all going wrong for him, I guess?
Well, I had a chance to catch up with William, and he explained that first round, a lot of car trouble. As soon as he'd figure one thing out, the next thing would happen. He pulled off the track, switched out some parts, and before he even got back on the track, the car was breaking down.
Wow.
And he said at that point, he just pulled it in and got the last barbecue sandwich at the Roach Coach.
Hey, made a day out of it anyway, right?
Made a day, had a good attitude. Yeah, that's the thing about William. You can count, he has matured so much in these last few years, and didn't throw a fit. Just said, I'll get him a big buck. And starting from row 5 with the dust that they're anticipating running into, he knows it's going to be a long day.
Most definitely. As lap 2 now in the history books, we got our top 7, 8 riders in right now. It looks like Travis Pointer is your leader. Kyle Cheney still in 2nd. Larry Hendershot in 3rd. The gap now, though, between Pointer in that Wickett-built Can-Am machine, the 591 car. Again, we talked about this last round, racing in the memory of LP Little Pat McGuire, whom we lost a couple of years, well, about a year and a half ago. But regardless, he stays with us in memory in the 591 car, and right now he's 591 car is right where the 591 was used to be, and that's right up front.
That's right.
Cheney in 2nd, Larry Hendershot still is 3rd. Hans Ada still in the number 4 spot. Mouse Pratt now rounds out the top 5.
You know, one thing I'd like to give a shout out to is a guy named John Barnes. John Barnes is currently running the 995 car and is in 9th place. 9th place overall. Thing with John is that he's running the amateur modified class, which means that he started behind all the XC2 cars. So we've got 8 XC1 cars, and then there's an amateur modified, and then we get back into XC1 Pro and XC2. So I don't know who John Barnes is, but he certainly deserves a little bit of credit for that first lap. He surely put down a flyer.
Well, he's out of Ashland City, Tennessee. I know that to be a fact. Amateur modified. I got the sheets right here, my friend.
Oh, a handy thing to keep
right
here in the announcer booth.
Yeah, especially when these cars don't come in with everybody's name in them. Right here we've got not only car numbers and names, where they're from, but also their passengers. The 995 car is the one we're looking at here in the was that amateur limited?
Amateur modified. Yep.
Amateur modified.
We've got a few different classes here.
Yeah, Ashland City, Tennessee. His passenger, Philip McKee Jr., and honestly, I'm with you. I don't recognize, well, kind of. I do recognize the name John Barnes, but not being a front runner.
He's made some sort of impression on you.
Exactly.
You know, the GNCC Racing Nation's a small world sometimes.
It is, as large as it is. You're absolutely right. It is a big, big place. And right now, the UTV world is growing by leaps and bounds as we see only XC1 Pro cars that have checked in.
And to reiterate, it looks like Travis Pointer still leads the way, even with time adjustments in now. It looks like we got Travis Pointer, Kyle Cheney, Larry Hendershot in the third place. And Hendershot, he also started from the second row. And it told me that if he can just catch up, latch on, it'll be a race.
I'm not sure, but are they lining these guys up in accordance to points? Is that the way it
Correct.
Okay,
yeah,
so
and Larry, he got 7th place in Georgia at the Mudfest.
Right.
He was right there running for the lead. He actually had the lead on adjusted time, smoked the belt about 2 turns from the finish line, and ended up 7th overall. So that put him to second row.
Pretty impressive, though. I mean, if you look at the obstacles that the man had to climb, right here we got the 591, or is that, no, that's the 555 car.
That's the triple nickel.
And that triple nickel, that is David Plobby out of Rural Valley, Pennsylvania. His passenger, Blake McDaniel, out there, the 555. Now, is that the same triple nickel we talked to?
No, that car is sponsored by Wicked Built, and last year it was a KR4 car.
Oh, okay. But, all right, that makes sense. So we still got triple nickels out there. That's important, especially for the guy driving it, David Plobby. And we've got, looks like 724 car coming in. I bet he's out of Pennsylvania from the 724. Let's see what class that's a red background, so that's got to be an XC1. That is actually William Dipple, old Double D there, out of the Loud Performance pits over there. We've got 2 Double Ds in the GNCC Racing Nation now. We got Digital Dave from Race Day Picks and old Dave Dipple there, man. We're going to have a face-off of the Double Ds, I think. But no, the folks over at Loud Performance carrying those new tire blocks, the flat-proof inflation system. Basically, it's not an inflation system because it's tire blocks. It's all solid, and it is a revolutionary design that has won the Baja 1000, the Baja 500. It's won a lot of GNCCs and been up front a lot this year, especially under the control of Adam McGill, who is your current points leader. So,
and that's a market that was wide open for UTVs because for the longest time, and we love tire balls. Tire balls work extremely well on 2 wheels and on 4-wheelers. But the UTVs seem to be pretty heavy, and we're popping the tire balls. And this flat tire Defender has been a really good fit for these UTVs.
No doubt about it. You know, the UTV racing has really, I think, been quite a bit of a surprise. We've talked about this several times, Chuck LeMaster, about the growth and the interest and just the great racing that we see out of these side-by-sides. Well, believe it or not, UTV side-by-side racing has spawned another offspring, so to speak, of off-road racing. Believe it, as young as they are, they're already a daddy. And they have what they've done is they brought in a new utility-type vehicle like this. It is, well, they called them buggies, I think is the way that they call them, but it's called the Polaris Ace. It's a single-seat version, basically, of what we're looking at like this, so it's a cross between this and an ATV, and it's a pretty gnarly thing, man. And they're making and taking the GNCC by storm. We have the races on Saturdays that we have UTV races at 9 o'clock. This morning was no different. We had another great battle. Sam Yoakley, the defending winner from the first round of racing, had his hands full out of that one today. And Mark Spatero, trainer of the stars and top GNCC racer from the amateur ranks for many years, actually taking the big win.
Well, that was an exciting race.
Here with the winner of our Polaris Ace UTV race today, Mark Spatero. Mark, tell us all about your race today. Tell us about the course. It looked like an absolute blast out there.
Yeah, first of all, the course was so much fun. It was everything we love, fields, woods, technical stuff. Perfect for the Ace, for these learning curves of these racers, these buggies. A lot of fun. I mean, just wide open, good times.
Tell us a little bit about your previous history with GNCC.
Well, I've been racing ATVs for the last 15 years, and I plan on racing right after this. So still riding 450Rs in the morning class, super senior, and hope to be back out there in a little bit.
Hey, I didn't get to see the start, Mark. Tell us a little bit about how your start went and what happened throughout the race.
My Polaris buggy started quick. We took off. I got the whole shot and never looked back. It was just smooth sailing the whole time out on the track. I was just having a great time, enjoying everybody and enjoying the Polaris Ace.
Well, I know one thing. We couldn't take a towel and wipe that smile off your face right now. Hey, who you want to thank for helping you out and getting this win today?
First and foremost, Michael Swith and all the members of Team UXC, Factory Polaris for providing such an awesome, fun ride. Rock Speed Effects, they do us up with all of our armor to protect the buggy out there on the course. And Max's Tires, Tire Balls, my girlfriend Brenda Lisinski, and my company Motor Pro Training.
Hey, there you have it. A lot of people involved getting Mark up here for the win. Mark, we appreciate you guys and all the effort you put in out there. Looked like you had an absolute blast, so congratulations for win number
1. Yeah.
Awesome, fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you guys so much. We really enjoy coming here.
Awesome. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks a lot, Megawatt. Matt Watson with the interview there. We'll get to see more and more of Megawatt as the season rolls on, and doing a great job as Travis Pointer doing a great job as well at 36 minutes into this race. Now Kyle Cheney still in second, Larry Hendershot third, Hans Ada now fourth out of Marietta. Man, look at this, a lot of Marietta, Ohio riders, or people from that neighborhood, it looks like. Hendershot, Ada, and, well, not as many as I thought. A lot of times there are. But those two guys running side by side. Jefferson, PA is home to Mouse Pratt. He's got the number 5 spot. Stephen Matco is in 6th, and that is your leader in the Wickett-built 591 car, making his way around for a third lap complete right now. He's running a little bit late according to scoring and timing. Last time around, he turned in 11:29. We'll let you know whether or not that's if he's able to keep on pace with that. But regardless, right now, Pointer out front, on point, and still in the lead.
You know what? He is exactly where he wants to be. He's in the lead, and he's all alone.
Yeah.
He did not let the second row catch him. He's not playing this adjusted time game. He says, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to win this thing. I'm going to win it straight up. And he's got such a gap right now that second place doesn't even have him in sight.
There you go. And he goes through the finish line there. He gets the 2-lap card. So 2 more laps of racing to go. 11:44. So Pointer did slow down by about, looks like about 29, probably about 15 seconds he slowed down on that lap. So Pointer, that was. Cheney, we're waiting to see. It looks like he slowed down as well. And the smoke that you see coming from over in the woods, that is one of those machines that somehow or another caught fire on the trail, man. That's a tough one right there.
That is, but we were talking earlier because there was one trying to catch fire right here in this field, and that's why safety equipment is required, including fire extinguishers.
Exactly, and those things are all equipped with fire extinguishers, and these guys are wearing fire suits. I mean, to the hilt. Safety is the utmost concern. 5-point harnesses and these things. It's not like you just take one of these regular things that you ride around the farm, like a Yamaha with a belt over it, or even the Can-Ams or Razor, since it's got the regular seat belts on them. That's not what you're looking at here. This is full-on race equipment, safety apparel. Actually, reinforced roll cages and things that they're using on these machines to try and enhance the safety aspects of it. So a lot of forethought has gone into this championship series.
Yeah, you don't just fall off of a UTV. When you roll a four-wheeler or you roll a dirt bike, flip a dirt bike, you kind of get tossed away from it. If it catches fire, kick some dirt on it, and try not to burn the woods down. When one of these has a catastrophe, it can be a catastrophe. So safety first.
Yep,
and our race crew is right on top of things.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee there's a couple of sweep riders out there taking care of the problem in the woods. But as we've been dealing with this, we've seen a lot of cars starting to check in. It looks like Kyle Cheney still holds the second place position, but he is now 37 seconds behind Travis Pointer. So Travis is keeping his lead. He's getting into some lap traffic right now, which might explain the 15-second slower lap time, because he's starting to make some passes, having to wait in order to make a safe and clean pass. But now Kyle Cheney, Larry Hendershot, Mouse Pratt, all those guys are starting to run into the same issues as well.
Well, it looks like that Cheney might have gained about, looks like 18 seconds that time around on Travis Pointer. Lap times 11:44.4 for Pointer, 11:26.2 for Kyle Cheney, and 11:33 for Larry Hendershot. So, you know, the old saying is true, I guess, as far as the leaders go, it's a lot tougher for that first place guy to work his way through the lap traffic, because a lot of times the lappers aren't expecting it, but once that leader makes his way through, they're expecting more to come behind.
It's a snowplow pushing snow out of the way.
Exactly, and that's kind of what Pointer's doing right now. So if he can continue to push the snow and keep that gap at the 30-plus seconds that we're looking at, 37 right now, he still might be able to carry this one on home to the checkers. But, man, with a lap and a half or so left to go in this one, Pointer's going to have his work cut out for him, I believe.
Well, it looks like on screen here we've got a nice little battle between the 115 and the 796. I'm not sure who we're looking at. But
John Kletz in the 115 car, Hans Ada, the 796 car. Ada was running 6th, and this is the battle for 6th place, it looks like, physically on the track. Kletz is 7th overall, but after time adjustment, as that amateur modified driver, John Barnes, the 995 car, is 7th overall. Just to give you an idea, the elapsed time between those guys was only a few seconds last time around, and he just kind of fit right in between them is what ended up happening there. Let's update the scoring module now, and John Kletz is your 7th place ride. Steve Matko is 6th place, and still waiting on the rest of these guys to check in. So Pointer, Cheney, Hendershot, Pratt, and Ada, your top 5. Matko and Kletz we saw battling, and I think Matko might have moved up a couple of spots there to join in that battle, so good job for him. Waiting right now for Bill Patterson to check through. Joe Kreselich, the 75 car, should be checking in soon as well, and he is the leader of the XC2 Pro Sport class.
Yeah, it looks like he had a great race. He's got the points lead coming into this race in the XC2 class, and putting those skills to work right here at the Big Buck on a beautiful, beautiful day. And talking to the drivers on the line, we talked a lot about dust. This race is about a little over halfway through right now, and it does not appear that the dust is near the factor that these drivers were anticipating.
And, even in some of the open areas, I mean, it's not as bad as what I expected. I know even a couple of weeks ago in North Carolina, we were faced with days of rain coming into that event, though it wasn't overly, well, there was a little muddy because it rained on Friday too, but it was a little moist. But the thing is, man, it dried up very quick. We saw a lot of dust there on Saturday, and we saw even more dust on Sunday. And temperatures weren't near as warm and bright and sunshiny as what they are here. But there was a lot of wind blowing, so that might have helped that out. I don't know what tomorrow's going to be like for these boys, but right now these UTV and ATV guys got to enjoy perfect conditions here at Big Buck.
It really doesn't get any better than this. And in the sunshine, it's a little warm. In the woods where there's some shadows, it's a perfect temperature. So I'm sure that if you have to layer up in 2-layer fire suits, today's a good day to do it.
Maybe. At least it's not 90, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, layers upon layers, fire suits, a lot of things have come by way of these trial and error in UTV racing. Right now, we have XC1 Pro top 10 in. Pointer, Cheney, Hendershot, Pratt, Ada, as we told you. Matko and Patterson running 6 and 7. Devin Steedley now, the 15 is 8th. 9th place, the 115, John Kletz, and Lucas Paul, the 414, rounds out the top 10. The 591 car making his way by Travis Pointer there in this section of woods here. Chuck LeMaster still uncontested, but these guys have got the hammer down trying to lay chase.
Yeah, this is a straightaway in the woods, and you can see even our Racer TV crew is picking up on it that this is a very fast section.
Wow.
Kyle Cheney just blows by.
Yeah, Cheney and Hendershot just went by, I think, there just a second. Hendershot might have actually been up into the number 2 spot right there. I might have misread that, but regardless, Cheney and Hendershot are both by. I believe Pratt now. No, Pratt's got a little ways to go before we'll be seeing him. He was a minute back off the pace of what these guys were setting.
But these guys are coming by so fast; it's a blur.
It is
in the camera screen.
It is, and I'll be honest with you, the digital technology I imagine is probably in overload motion right now. We've got these highly specific high-speed cameras, that we use out here for just such an occasion. But even sometimes here in the GNCC, they go a little faster than we can anticipate. Pointer, Cheney, Hendershot, your top 3 we're looking at right now. Mouse Pratt is 4th. Hans Ada rounds out your top 5. We are 44 minutes, almost 45 minutes into this side-by-side, the UTV racing here at the BP Fuels Big Buck GNCC. Who's going to win this one? Who's going to be able to make some points up today? We're going to find out. Stick around. We'll be back with more GNCC Live after this.
Ranger, sportsman, ace. If you live for the outdoors, there's a Polaris to match your passion. Confident, comfortable, capable. That's ace. With a solo cockpit, automotive controls, independent suspension, all-wheel drive, and up to 45 horses of fuel-injected power. Calling it revolutionary would be an understatement. Polaris, the world leader in off-road innovation.
GNCC Live is brought to you in part by Polaris Ace, a whole new off-road experience. And by AMSOIL, first in synthetics. Rocky Mountain ATVMC, get ready. And by Maxxis, find your flow.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here at the wonderful VP Fuels Big Buck GNCC. Rodney Tomlin along with Chuck LeMaster and, of course, Jen Kenyon and actually Matt Watson out and about as well. We'll be checking with him here shortly after the race. Pointer, Cheney, Hendershot, no changes in this one after 3 laps complete. We saw the 2-lap board coming out. Leader due in about a minute right now, Chuck LeMaster, as we watch for the 591 car.
Well, we were fully expecting that Travis Pointer is going to maintain that lead. Looked like he was going pretty good when we caught a glimpse of him back in the woods there. He was flying, and I expect that he'll maintain that lead, barring any catastrophe. But the question is it Kyle Cheney or is it Larry Hendershot in that second place position? We were debating this as they came through the woods in blur of yellow. So,
okay, well, Chuck, I'm getting some updates here from producer Jason Hooper. We take note and notice that the fire had obviously started burning out there in the woods. And I think that maybe even with all of our safety equipment and everybody being down there, it's so dry down there that some sparks might have got out and got a little out of control before they could get it back in control. So they're going to, for safety purposes, going to throw the checker flag out from what I'm understanding for this car right here, the 591 of Travis Pointer, who is going to have the opportunity to get the big break with no pressures coming in, it looks like, if that checker flag comes out. But again, just for safety concerns, we want to make sure that we can combat the issues down there if they are getting out of control. I know the track crew has pretty much got things under control, and that's why they said let's go ahead and make this happen so they can get the proper equipment down where it needs to be gotten and get this thing taken care of. There they are, folks. The checkers are out, and Travis Pointer puts another win in the books here in UTV side-by-side racing, Chuck LeMaster, and I'm sure he, as well as so many folks right now, are scratching their head and saying, how did it go from a 2-lap board to a checker flag?
I missed a flag somewhere. No, per the rule books, we're more than 3/4 of the way through this race. We're at 48 minutes and some seconds when the checker flag came out. So this will be the final standings of the race. And obviously we've been talking all race long safety first.
Right.
We're very, very acutely aware that safety is always going to be first, so we'll get that fire under control. All racers are going to come on in, take the checker flag. Our question right now is, who is in the number 2 position?
Well, there is the number 6 car coming in, and look at this. We've got a change already that has taken place on time adjustments. Pointer comes across the finish line in first, but after time adjustments, Kyle Cheney, or Pointer came across in first, but Kyle Cheney gets it on time adjustments. He was 30 seconds behind, but after they go through the, oh my gosh, elapsed time, 48 minutes, 50.3 seconds for Kyle Cheney. Travis Pointer, 48.52 flat. That was 1.6.01 seconds difference that separated those guys right there, man. I mean, talk about splitting hairs. They weren't side by side, but on the clock, they were literally they were side by side, just making their way around this racetrack.
That wasn't supposed to happen.
No,
I'm sure that Travis is scratching his head, saying, "Wait a second, I thought I won."
No doubt, and I guarantee you, he's thinking, "I know exactly where I could have made that 2 seconds for that second."
Less than
1.6.010 seconds.
Right. Oh wow. Yeah, all race long. What a heartbreak for him. But what a motivating factor for Kyle Cheney, our reigning champion.
Yeah, no doubt.
Guy knows how to drive a car.
He does, and it pays off for him once again. His, just determination, and will and talent all culminates together once again to bring us what we've got. Kyle Cheney, your winner. Travis Pointer in second. And right now, unless something changes, looks like Larry Hendershot has got the third place position locked up. Mouse Pratt checks in the fourth place position with 4 laps down now, looking for Hans Ada. So again, in the process of wrapping this race up, see the smoke in the background, and for concerns of making sure that we can get the proper officials in those places, because we want to ensure that we got a place for racing tomorrow.
Well, we do have a whole day of racing ahead of us tomorrow, don't we?
Yes, we do.
This is, I don't recall in recent history having to end a race early because of a fire, but I do remember at Loretta Lynn's in 2011 coming through. I was actually in the race on 2 wheels on Sunday afternoon, coming through, seeing a guy, his bike was on fire, and I thought, oh, he's just going to kick some dirt on it. Next lap, I came through, and the whole hillside was wiped out.
It gets out of hand
and
pretty quick.
They were routing us around that hill. Of course, our track safety crew is top-notch. They had the fire under control. There was no issue. But in the woods, fire is definitely something to take seriously.
And the thing is, it oftentimes looks worse than what it is, and probably a situation, you got all that smoke down there, it's probably hard to see. I mean, there's a lot of variables as to why.
Sure.
And
I know that these guys are disappointed that maybe the race is cut short, but this is racing.
It is, and this is how this racing ends up today. Kyle Cheney, Travis Pointer, Larry Hendershot, your top 3. Hans Ada checks in fourth. Mouse Pratt rounds out the top 5. And GNCC Live will continue after this.
General RV is going to help you go camping with locations across the nation and thousands of RVs to choose from. General RV is the nation's largest family-owned RV dealer. At General RV, you'll save thousands on everything from trailers that sleep the whole family right up to motorhomes that are amazing and so economical to travel in. General RV is the only dealer who can show you this much and save you this much. With a great deal from General RV, you'll discover how much fun camping can be.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Chuck LeMaster here. I'm Rodney Tomlin, and Chuck and I talking about this. We thought we might have had one there, but as we look at our Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com, BP Fuels Big Buck GNCC overall leaderboard, Cheney, Pointer, Hendershot, Ada, and Pratt. We were laughing and saying, doesn't Cheney ride with Sneaky Snake Jared McClure? And I did a quick check. He does ride with one of our ATV pros from the XC1 class, but it's Chris Bithell, whom Kyle Cheney rides with, if you remember correctly. McClure, who just snuck his way onto the podium in the XC1 Pro ATV class there, is passenger with John Yoakley, whom we mentioned is...
That's right. They only got 1 lap in, and they're way back there.
Yep.
Actually, both the Yoakleys, William Yoakley, he didn't finish the race either.
So there you go. So looks like tough break there. Not Jared's fault. Not Tina's fault. Not John's fault. And definitely not William's fault. But no, it's certainly putting together a great, interesting twist, I think, to an already eventful type of championship series, if you want to know the truth, Chuck. I mean, watching these side-by-sides race the way they do, I mean, we've seen a great transition for these guys. From the humble beginnings of racing that I remember racing right here. The first championship series race, I believe, was right here. We had a race at Ironman the year before, but I think the first actual championship round was right here at Big Buck. What year would that have been?
That was 2008. I recall that very clearly because I was in it.
There you go. And I mean, looking back on it then, man, I mean, we've seen a lot of progression even in this class.
Unbelievable. Back then it was stock Razors and stock Yamaha Rhinos with a lap belt. There were no 5-point harnesses. We didn't have doors, nets, safety cages, fire extinguishers. It was put a helmet on and go out there and try not to tear each other up.
and I remember, I think there were some 90 or 100 cars that first race.
Oh, it was crazy.
I think we were hauling cars out, so about 9:30 that night, there were 60-some cars that did not finish the race. Only about 40 cars were able.
There were parts all around the track.
I'd say there's still parts from 08 here on this track right now, if you want to know the truth. But a lot was learned from that point on. We saw the need for the stricter safety guidelines, and like you said, the lap belts, the doors, the lap belts were done away with, the harnesses were brought in, the doors were brought in. It reinforced, kill switches on the outside of the car as well as on the inside of the car, the fire extinguishers, the fire safety suits. I mean, just so much has come a long way in, a very short amount of time if you look at the grand scheme of things. On the calendar, you say it's 7 years, but really 6 racing seasons is all they've got under the belt, so it's pretty young.
But a lot else has changed as well, because not only has the equipment progressed, but speeds have come up with that progression.
Oh, mercy, and I can attest
back
to that.
in 2008, the speed of a stock Rhino was 42 miles an hour. There were straight stretches out here today that guys were anticipating hitting 75 miles an hour on.
Oh, easy, and I'll tell you one of them that probably did it. I rode with that guy right there that finished up in the number 3 spot. I think he took the number 3 spot, and then the number 6 car of Larry Hendershot. Ladies and gentlemen, let's head down to Max's Victory Lane, where Megawatt Matt Watson stands by with our top 3.
Check. There we go. Hey, thanks a lot, Rodney. Here we are down here on our UTV podium, our round 2 here of the 2015 UTV series. Man, oh man, what a crazy day. We're up here with our 3 winners. We got Kyle Chaney in the first place. We got Travis Pointer in second place, and our man Larry Hendershot right here in the third place. And man, do we have a lot to talk about. Larry, I want to ask you, third place today, what was your start like? How did it look coming up start? Dusty, what was going on out there?
The start was good. We went just as planned. We got the whole shot. We got the whole shot and just tried to stay out of the dust, get out of there, and we did. It worked pretty good.
Well, I tell you what, man, all kinds of crazy activities going on out there on the track. What was the track conditions like? Was it rough? Was it room to get around out there?
It was tight. It was hard to pass out there, get around lappers. The track was rough as can be. That was a brutal race today, but the track was a lot of fun. Kudos to Jeff and all the guys that laid it out.
Awesome. One last question. You pleased with this? You glad with your finish today? You pleased with your performance?
Yep, that's all you can hope for is a podium finish. This class, the skill level is off the hook. There are so many fast drivers out here, and any one of the top 10 can win this. So very pleased with the finish. We're both points and head to Mountain Air.
Right on. I know it takes a navigator to get this done. Anything you want to add about the race?
No, it's just a little rougher than a quad, if you believe it or not.
I can imagine. Well, great job, you guys. And who do you want to thank for getting you up here today?
First and foremost, the Lord, Can-Am. Look at this, 1, 2, 3. Can-Am sweep again. These Mavericks are tough. So definitely Jody, JB Racing, the whole crew there. My gosh, Hauser Racing, Fox Suspension, Liquid Wrench, Gunk, Hendershot Performance. I know I'm forgetting a lot of them. I got a lot of great people behind me. We've got a great team this year. My family for coming down here and supporting me. And I just got to say, I broke the South Carolina course. I've never podiumed down here, so it feels good.
All right, there you have it, folks. Third place, Larry Hendershot breaking that South Carolina curse today with third place. Great job. Give it up for third place, you guys. Fantastic.
Right now doing a little bit of audio adjustment on Megawatt's microphone. But, wow, I tell you, congratulations to Larry and Braden as we move over to our second place position now. And he won it. It looked like physically on the racetrack, but on time adjustments, lost by about a second and a half, heading down with Travis Pointer.
Yeah, I was standing here with Travis when he come through, man, and I tell you what, he had his fingers crossed, he was gritting his teeth, and like you said, only a couple seconds separating these guys for first and second. So, hey, tell me a little bit about it, Travis. Well, how'd it go out there today? How'd your start go? What'd the track look like?
Oh, everything went exactly how I wanted it from the start. you know, my plan was with Kyle in the second row, I knew all he had to do was catch me, and he's up by 30 seconds. So I wanted to get the lead. I wanted to stretch that 30 seconds out, so he had to work for it, and I wanted to create as much dust as possible to make it as hard as possible. You know, like I said before, I practiced with him. We share a lot of information, and the pace is pretty close. So I knew I had my work cut out for me, and I wanted to make it as hard as I could for him. The Can-Ams, they were working so good. You know, the Axis shocks were working great. GBC tires are hooking up great. The NXG wheels, they took a beating. You know, it was tight out there. It was rough out there. It was awesome. The car was so good, and I just had so much fun. You know, I was telling Kyle, like, lap 2, I started thinking about him. Then I was like, don't think about him. Just drive, have fun. Once I had fun, you know, it was a blast the rest of the race, and loved it.
Well, I know one thing. You did your homework. You put in the time. You just missed it by a couple seconds. You still have to be pleased with your performance today.
Oh, yeah. You know, we're here for a championship. Obviously, I would love to win every race, but what matters is who has the points lead at the end of the series. And right now, we're setting good with a first and a second, so it's mine to lose. I just have to maintain and be smart the rest of the season. I know my car is always good with my team backing me. You know, starting out with the Can-Am, great platform, and, you know, I just hop in the driver's seat and have fun, and as long as I'm smart about it, we should be good at the end of the season.
Wow, that sounds like a very accurate description of everything that happened today. It lets us know exactly where you're at, but I got to ask your navigator, anything exciting or put you on edge today? Anything catch you by surprise?
No, it was just a fast course.
All right, there you have it. Well, hey, Travis, who you want to thank for helping you out get a second place today?
I want to thank our main sponsor, Wicked Built. They really helped put this together. Off-Road Motorsports, Pat McGuire puts together a great program there. Can-Am, Crash Act Industries, Cage, and, you know, Quick Steer and stuff like that comes from us. OMF does our wheels. We run the NXG2 from them. Axis dials our shocks in. We run the stock Can-Am shocks, revalved and resprung by Axis. GBC tires, they work good. Hard packed here, mud at Georgia, same dirt commanders we've been running the whole time. VP race fuel, factory UTVs, skids. You know, everybody that's behind us. It's such a great program that I have this year for me.
Well, always takes a lot of help to get up here on the podium. So let's give it up, everybody, for second place today, 591 Travis Pointer. All right, now that takes us to the middle of the podium today. You know, Kyle, you came in and you looked over. We looked at each other. I said, let me check the time. Next thing you know, man, there we were. Overall win today. How'd that work out for you?
Man, it's awesome. It started out a little slow. I got a second place hole shot in the second row behind Larry, and I had to stay right on his bumper because it was really dusty, and I just wanted to make sure I wouldn't make a mistake. And luckily for me and not lucky for him, he made the first mistake, and I got around him, and I knew Travis was up there, and you know, I was just going for him, and I kept seeing him every lap, and I knew we were gaining a couple seconds a lap, but I knew that first lap, I think he pulled pretty good on me, but we ended up getting the Can-Am up here in the middle, and it worked awesome. My Fox shocks were awesome today. Maxxis tires were hooking. Skid plates, factory UTV. You know, as rough as the track was, you had to have good skid plates. I think I ripped my front bumper off just from some whoopties, caught it, and it ripped it off. Yeah, and it was flopping on the ground. It was kept spitting dirt up in her face. But
so you pulled the old rocking horse on them.
Oh yeah. I was like, I hope I can rip this thing off pretty fast, and ended up coming off.
Well, I tell you what, man, all kinds of stuff out there. Like I said, as soon as you pulled off the track, we knew it was going to be close. Is there one place you thought the car was working really good in particular?
Yeah, this car runs really good, handles awesome. It really works good in the fast chop corners. Like the first half of the track, it worked really well. Once it gets a little tighter, my rear end's a little wider than my front, so we ended up catching a couple times, but it worked awesome everywhere, really.
Awesome. Now I got to turn around here. Was there anything that caught you by surprise? Because you have a totally different view. You're thinking a little bit different he is, although you guys have to be on the same page. Anything catch you by surprise today?
You know, nothing really catches me by surprise anymore here with Kyle. I've been with him for, you know, last year, this year, and everything he does, I can kind of calculate in my head. But, you know, today was a great day. We had some trouble in Georgia. We come in here, you know, wanting to win, and that's what we did.
And you guys did it with the skin of your teeth. Great competition today. Everybody drove hard. And, you know, I want to ask Kyle who you want to thank for helping you get up here, bud.
Can-Am for sure. They've helped me since the beginning, and we're here for the long run. I want to thank Turnkey UTV for making all my hard parts, cage and everything, keeping us safe. Maxxis tires were hooking awesome today. Fox shocks, factory UTV, SSI decals, 100% goggles, fly helmets, beard seats, kept us comfortable. My mechanic, my grandma, my whole family, and everybody for showing up.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. First place overall today in our UTV race, Kyle Cheney. Second place, Travis Pointer. Third place, Larry Hendershot. Now it's time for everybody's favorite part, that champagne shower. Give it up for your top 3 overall.
All right, good job, Megawatt Matt Watson. To the victor goes the spoils, and the spoils in UTV GNCC Racing, the sweet, sweet spray of champagne. Look at that, man. Kyle Cheney back on top of the action and on top of the box right there. Travis Pointer, though, is not going to be denied. Folks, this is going to be a championship this year, and throwing his hat into the ring, of course, is we see it all the time, but can he do it consistently? Larry Hendershot there. I tell you, Chuck, already only 2 rounds into this, and it seems like the series has, again, already gotten so far along, and it's only 2 rounds underway so far. That little score right there is probably wondering what in the world's going on out there. Where'd all this noise come? But anyway, what a great start to the UTV side-by-side season there. We saw that all unfold before our very eyes. Unfortunately, the race did have to get cut a little bit short, but as we take a look at our Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com leaderboard, Cheney, Pointer, Hendershot, Ada, Pratt, your top 5. Steve Matco holds on for 6th. Bill Patterson with 7th. John Kletz in the number 8 spot. Devin Steedley in 9th. And John Barnes, that rider, that team that we were talking about, the amateur modified. He ends up 10th place overall. So obviously a good day here in GNCC in the UTV world.
Absolutely. It's been I hate to throw it out there, but it's been a barn burner kind of day.
How about a woods burner?
You know, it's
puns
been a great
intended.
race.
Puns intended.
Yeah, puns absolutely intended. I'm sure that by now I haven't seen any smoke and smell or anything.
Yeah,
I'm sure things are under control.
I think they pretty much got her out now. If it's not completely out, it's almost completely out. But regardless, wanted to make sure for safety purposes. So got a good race in the end, and we got more great racing coming up tomorrow, Chuck, as we invite everybody to join us along the lines about 1 o'clock or so tomorrow as we anticipate the start of our 2-wheel motorcycle version of our BP Fuels Big Buck GNCC. And on behalf of Matt Watson on our podium, Jen Kenyon, of course, helping us out, and you, Chuck LeMaster, I'm Rodney Tomlin saying so long, everybody.
Good day.